Hello, how are you? So it's September 21st, and that means this is week 5 of the semester, and so that means we're working on material from chapter 5 in the textbook, and paying attention, that's the halfway mark through the textbook. You'd be like, well, aren't we moving a little quickly? No, because we want to dedicate the end of the semester to you working on term projects, and we haven't talked a lot about that, but we will soon. Hi Kyle. Uh, I hope that you guys are doing all right. Hope you had a good weekend. We are going to have a practicum on Thursday, and no surprises there. Um, you should have a pretty good idea of what you're doing and how to do it by this point. And the lab will be open tomorrow from 1 to 3. Hannah will be there to open it up and use that time to do some extra practice if you need it. Review the past videos that we've done. We've done stuff together, which is very similar to what I'm asking you to do in the practicum. So I did give this some thought this week, and it was the thought was, what if you come into the practicum and something just doesn't go well, and you're not able to finish the task. Should that happen, it's not the end of it. I will allow some post practicum submissions, and there'll be a penalty for the late submission, but you won't get a 0. You won't get a 0. So I don't want you to feel like this is like high stakes, all or nothing type stuff. All right. I want you guys to come into the lab and perform, be able to do the practicum, but things happen. People have a crisis or forget a key component. So I will provide an opportunity for late submissions but hopefully the need doesn't arise, but if the need arises. All right, so that's what's on tap for this week. Next week on what's next Friday? October 2nd, I think that's next Friday, is your first exam, and it'll be all via Sakai. It'll be timed during the regular class period, so from 1:10 till 2 p.m. It'll be a 50-minute exam, and it'll be about 30 questions, mostly multiple choice, some fill in the blank type questions. Okay, so it'll be all via Sakai, and the way I want you guys to do the exam is on the day of the exam. We will have a Zoom session, so I'll proctor it via Zoom, and my expectation is that you have the ability to show me yourself and your work area via a webcam. Okay, and when I'm proctoring it, that basically means I'm watching what you're doing, and also if you have questions, I can try to answer your questions via chat. All right, so that's a week from Friday. All right, so we're moving right along. So I feel like for a couple days now I've been saying we're going to do a little bit more work with feature creation. So we're going to do it for real today, and then we're going to move on to some stuff that's in chapter 5. Okay. So give me a second here. Infinite loop. All right, just trying to get stuff so you can see here. All right, so Oh boy, man, I got a lot of projects started. Let's just start a new one. I'll call it Project Monday. And close some of these windows. Got lots of stuff up, lots of tools up. Okay, so we got a brand new project, and let's oh, I don't know. Let's say we're going to use this project to map Shepherd University. And we're going to come in here, and I'm going to change the base map to just imagery. And we know Shepherd pretty well, so we should be able to recognize what we're looking at, the buildings. But let's say that you know, what we want to do here is we want to create a feature class, a polygon feature class, where the polygons, the features, are buildings on Shepherd's campus. And so we want to create this feature class, and then you know, put it in my geodatabase, and then it becomes shareable. So you know, once you do this work, you can share the results with other people by sharing this, either the feature class itself or the geodatabase. So if we come in here, and so right now all we have is a base map. And if I click, oh, I gotta switch over my view here. All right, so all we got is a base map. And if I click in the catalog pane on my databases, I have a default database associated with this project, my project Monday.gdb, and it's empty. There's nothing in it right now. It's completely empty. But if I right click on this, one of the options is new, and then under new I have the option of adding a feature class. I can add a bunch of other stuff too, but let's add a feature class. And when I click this, you couldn't see that, I just realized. Here, hold on. Let me close this, make this a little smaller. So there it is. So now you can see the pop-up window. One of the options is feature class. So I'll click that, and then once you do that, you get this window with some parameters you can set. So let's create a name. We'll call this Shepherd Buildings. The alias, same with a space, format it better. And then feature class type we can select. Do we want it to be a line, a point, or polygon? We want polygon features because we want to create features corresponding to buildings. And I could click finish right now, but if I keep clicking through in the next pane, the next button, the next option I have to set is dimensions of the attribute table that are going to be associated with these features. So there's two attributes that are created by default. These are associated with the shapes that we're going to be creating. So they're software controlled, software managed. But if I click right here, I can start adding attributes to my attribute table. So probably, you know, a thing that we want to, if these are buildings, name is probably something we want, and that's text. Maybe another thing we want is year of construction, and maybe that is years are integers, so we'll make that an integer data type. And we could keep going here. Maybe we put on here something like roof age. If you're working in facilities, knowing the age of the roof might be important. And of course that is another integer. And you could keep going. You could add more stuff. Let's go next. So in next, you can specify the spatial reference for this feature class, and you can always project to a new one, but let's just keep the default right now. This is the default used by this project. WGS 1984, Web Mercator, Auxiliary Sphere. Click next, we'll click next, we'll click next, we'll click finish, okay? There's other parameters here. Defaults are fine for us. And there it is. So you see it created this feature class called Shepherd Buildings. Put it in my geodatabase. So let's drag it onto my map. Gotta put it above my base map. There's nothing in it. If I right click on this and look at the attribute table, there's nothing in it. There's nothing in the attribute table because I haven't created any features yet. So the next thing is like one of my most favorite things to do in ArcGIS Pro, and that's creating features by there's a bunch of ways you can do this, and one way is you could go out in the field and you could get GPS coordinates using a portable GPS device of the corners of a building, and then you could bring those back in as a table, and you could import that information as XY points, and then you could trace those points. The easiest way to get started, though, is just your base map is satellite imagery, so use that to orient yourself in space, and then look for the building in question, and then just outline it using the tools. So let's do that. I'll close this attribute table here, and let's start with the facilities building. It's so easy to trace. It's a rectangle, so we're going to go there, and then what I'm going to do is in the edit tab, I'm going to click the create button. When I click the create button, over here in the create features window, the only thing in here is Shepherd Buildings. I can only create Shepherd Buildings. Shepherd Buildings is the only layer, editable layer of features on my map right now. So if I click on Shepherd Buildings, there's a bunch of tools that pop up here. This allows you to make right angle polygons. What's this? Autocomplete polygon. This allows you to, let's start with this one. Create a polygon feature. So I'll click there. If I come over on the map, I've got a little crosshair, and I'll just start clicking on the corners and dragging. Look at that. And then when I get to the last corner, and this is the last corner, I will double click. Actually, I'll just click once, and then I'll come down here and click the finish button. Okay. So I've created a rectangular polygon representing the facilities building. And so now I'll go up here and save the changes, save edits, yes. And now if I look at the attribute table, there we have it. We have one feature in our feature collection. None of the attributes are set though. So facilities, year of construction, I have no idea. Let's say 1968. I have no idea. Age of roof, let's say 12 years. I have no, those aren't right. And then okay, let's close this again. Alright, so now if I select this, well, it's already selected, and look at its attributes, they didn't stick. Oh, what did I say? So now they're stuck in there. Okay, let's do another building. Let's clear that selection. And let's see, explore. Let's see. Let's try Snyder Hall. So do edit and create using the polygon tool, and this is Snyder Hall right here. So let's just start clicking. Boop, 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 boop. If I click on that little blue button, let me show you again. Click on this little blue arrow right here. The current feature that I'm creating is active, and I can come in here and add the attributes on the fly. So this is Snyder Hall, age of construction, I don't know, 1977, roof age, 15 years, we'll say. And we're done. So let's clear that. Let's turn on snapping. Let's snap to what's this? Snap to vertex? No. Edge snap. We'll turn on edge snap. And now let's do, the reason I want to turn on edge snap is because I want to do Bird Science Center next, and Bird Science Center is connected to Snyder Hall. So this is a little bit, see it's snapping to the edge there. Got the rotunda. The stairwell on the north side of the building. So I didn't do that corner just right. I'll come back and fix it. So let's change the symbology a little bit here. Let's make it a little bit transparent. All right, and so right here, oops, let's go into edit, modify, and let's edit the vertex here. So I want to add a vertex right here. This one right here. I want to add a vertex and kind of drag it up there. And add a vertex right there and drag that up here. Drag this right there. Okay. And accept those changes. Okay, so that looks pretty much like the thing I'm after here. Click the blue arrow. Let's save it. Let's look at the attribute table. Well, that's interesting. I don't know why it did that. It switched my, I guess because I had those defaults set. So polygon 3 here is not Snyder Hall. It's Bird Science. Who knows when it was made? I'll just leave it like that. Okay, so let's save that. Yep, save the edits. Okay. So you know what I'm doing here is I created a blank feature class, and then I started to create features to populate that feature class. And let's say that like you get halfway through and you realize that there should have been another attribute in your attribute table. Not a big deal. You can just go into your attribute table and to your field view and add another column to your attribute table, and then you can fill it in by hand. Or maybe it's a calculated value. Okay. Um, so, maybe some of you, um, end up doing research projects while you're here at Shepherd, and that research project involves gathering GIS data. Well, once you have a data set created, then you can start doing geospatial analysis on it. So maybe, let's think here. If your data set that you have is the buildings um, at Shepherd University, and maybe one of the parameters is square footage um, in your attribute table, the square footage. And that's not going to be the same as the area of the polygons because buildings have more than one floor. So that increases the square footage, usable square footage. So maybe you want to build a model of energy consumption on Shepherd University, and you have some idea of how much it costs or how much energy cost there is to heating a square foot of building space. And you could build a model of how energy intensive the buildings are, and you could compare that to utilization rates, the number of students or number of classes that are held in each building, and so you could get an idea of efficiency, which buildings are being efficiently used and which ones are not. That could be interesting, actually. Anyway, we did it. We finally looked at feature creation for a brand new blank feature class. All right. So now let's turn our attention to chapter 5. All right. Looking at the comments, no questions in there. If you got any questions, drop them in the comments. All right. Let's go. All right. So chapter 5 involves, so I can find it, a project that is in this conflict folder. There it is. No, I don't want to back it up. Sure, I'll save that project. All right. So I've opened up this conflict folder and I'll close some of this stuff. Let's see what we got in here. Oh shoot. Let's I'm going to delete that because we're going to make it again. All right. So let's bring this ACLED 2005 to 2018 feature class to our map. Create a layer out of it. So this looks like it's you can tell from the icon that this is these are point features. See little dots there. Bring it onto my map, and that is a lot of dots. Let's look at the attribute table to see what we're dealing with here. So we got point data, ISO, I don't know what the ISO number is, event ID, country, I'm guessing, looks like maybe that's Algeria, I don't know, event ID, Y coordinate and X coordinate, those look like geospatial coordinates. They look like, well, they look like latitude and longitude. Although they're not, they must be in some other projected coordinate system. This doesn't look right for that. Year, event date, what day was the event? Well, what events are these? It's a data set called conflict. So what do we have? We have different types of conflict. Battle, no change of territory, strategic development, battle, riots, protests, violence against civilians, wow, remote violence, yikes. Who were the actors? Military force, rioters, military force. Wow, looks like associated actor. You can have more than one actor. Um, Ooh, actor 2. Region, country, administrative location, latitude. There's latitude and longitude. Where source was, notes, fatalities. How many fatalities there were? Wow, it's crazy. What? There was an event with 25,000 fatalities? Oh my gosh. All right. Wow, this is a depressing data set. Anyway, so we get the idea. This is data about conflicts in Africa, and each conflict has a location associated with it. Let's look in this. In the task folder, there's a file called Create Conflict Maps. And then in the conflict toolbox, there's a file called, it says it's a script, select and summarize. All right, so let's look into what these task things are. Let's go into, let's see, view, and there should be a button in here to look at the task pane. Oh, there it is. Click that. Okay. So I open up the task pane and we see the tasks in this task called Create Conflict Maps. And there's 1, 2, 3 different tasks in here. The first one's called Create Subset of Features. Next one's called Symbolize Layer. And the last one's called Make Selection. Okay. So, what the heck are we doing here? All right. You're learning that a big part of GIS is, people refer to it as workflow. When you're carrying out an analysis, there's a sequence of steps that you do, and you might find yourself in a situation where you want to have a record of the steps that you did. I mean, that seems like something you'd always want, and one reason for that is so that you could maybe this facilitates repeating a procedure again in exactly the same way. Maybe it facilitates you remembering what you did if you come back to a project after being away from it for a while. But maybe the most important or most useful feature that these tasks that you can create in ArcGIS Pro can do for you is they allow you to share. You can share these tasks with other people. So if you do, you carry out some analysis and you want to share that analysis, not the results of the analysis, but you actually want to share the steps that you went through in order to carry out that analysis, you can do that. All right, so let's come back here and let's click on the first one here, and then I'll click the blue arrow here, and when I hover it says that this blue arrow opens the task. So I'll open the task. So this task has 3 steps, and the first step is build a definition query, the second step is rename a layer, and the third step is zoom to layer. Let's click this run button down here, and what it's going to do is it opens up the layer properties window, and in this task window over here you can see instructions that we're supposed to do. It says we're going to limit the visible features to those within a particular country from 2010 to 2018. Define a new country at each iteration as desired. In the query builder, click add clause. It's a little different here. We want to do a new definition query, and we want to filter by country. You guys probably can't read that. That's so tiny on my screen. But what it's telling me to do is create a definition query where I filter by country, where the country is equal to Southern Sudan or South Sudan. And then it says add another clause so we can filter by year and make the look for years that are greater than or equal to 2010. I'll apply, click OK. Okay, so it filtered my data by country, and so all I'm seeing now are the data for South Sudan from 2010 until the end of this data set. All right, let's go to the next step and run it. So here it's saying rename the layer to ACLED 2008-2018 South Sudan. So that's up here in the General tab. Okay. All right. I know this is really hard to read. It's so tiny on the screen. All right. And so now let's go to the next step. And the next step is zoom to layer. So it automatically does this for us because there's no parameters associated with this step. And we'll click finish. So here we are. So these tasks executed sequentially filtered the data based on the parameter of country and year, and renamed the layers, renamed the layer, and then once it was filtered, and then zoom to that layer. All right, so let's go to the next task. Symbolize layer. All right, let's click this. So here it's saying that we want to change the symbol scheme to graduated symbols based on the fatalities field. So we want big symbols where there's lots of fatalities and small symbols where there's not. If I click run here, it should open up the symbology pane. It does. And then I'm going to select graduated symbols. And it's saying that instead of 5 classes, just do 3. And we want to symbolize fatalities. And I don't really like the default symbology, so I'm going to select a different one. And I'm even going to turn off the outline so it's just red dots. Oop. Wrong thing. Keep that red. No color. There we go. So we have big dots. Make the dots a little bigger. Well, that's a little too bad. All right, that looks pretty good. And so now we'll click finish. So we're done with that. Okay. The next one is called make selections. Let's click on that task. So this task opens up a tool which involves making selections from this map. All right, so let me look at the procedure here and see what it wants me to do. So what it wants me to do is from the data, it wants me to make a new selection where, oh, it's already filled in for me, where the, you can't read that, let's make it a little bigger, where the event type is equal to violence against civilians. All right, so this is going to select those features which correspond to violence against civilian event types. Run. You can see it selected a subset of the red dots. And then we'll click finish. All right. So But we're not done. Maybe now, the next thing we want to do is use the selection to carry out some analysis. Maybe we want to add up how many fatalities were due to violence against civilians. So up here, if I right click on, not right click, left click on this button right here, one of the options here is to edit in Designer. So let me click that. When I do that, you'll notice all these extra tools pop up right here. And one of the tools is to add a new task to my list here. So let me click that. It creates a new task. And if whichever task I select, you see it pops up over here in the Task Designer window. So let's give this task a new name. Let's call this Generate Summaries Statistics. Okay. And I'll give it a description. Summarize the fatalities for the selected set of features. Okay. So after we make a selection, we're going to summarize the fatalities in the selected set of features. All right. Okay, so then over here, what I'm going to do is, this is a pretty cool feature. There's a button here, it says Record Commands. And when you click this button, Record Commands, it's like a little record button. The task creation tool, the Task Designer, is going to actually keep track of what you do in the ArcGIS Pro interface, and keep track of the steps, and then create a task out of the steps that you carry out. Alright, so we're going to turn that tool on, and that little record icon is next to my mouse now. I don't know if you can see that. Everything is so small in here. I'm going to go into the Analyze pane, and what I'm looking for is Summary Statistics. So I think it's in this, there it is, Summary Statistics. So I'm going to select that tool, and this window pops up with the parameters that you can put in. And I don't have to put parameters in. I can just say that this task is going to be to call the Summary Statistics tool. So I think I'll just do that, and then I'm going to click the stop button here. Stop. Okay. And okay. Then let's go back here. I'm going to close, where's the Task Designer? I'm going to close the Task Designer window. And so now if I run this, look at that, the Summary Statistics tool pops up. Okay. Let's open up the Designer again. And let me click. Right here, and now I can, if I want to say, now I want to edit what I'm doing. Well, let's not do that right now. Let's close this. All right. So I'll run this task. The Summary Statistics window pops up, and what I want to do is find the summary statistics for the ACLED 2008-2018 South Sudan data set, and then where do I want my output to go. On keyboard, I'll put it into a new table called Statistics, and what I want to do is I want to take the fatalities and sum them up. And so now I'll click Run. It says it's done. Let's go back to the Contents pane. It created the table. So let's open this up. And there it is. So of the selected features, there's 1,772 selected features. Those are selected conflict events, and they add up to a combined 14,211 fatalities. All right. I think I want to stop there for today. So the next thing we'll do is look at, so tasks are like cheat sheet for you to remember the steps that you went through. You can share tasks. This task element is a part of my project. It's an actual file, and I can share it with other people. If the way we're using tasks right here, you can automate stuff a little bit more by filling in the parameters as you go, and then you can click run, and it goes through each step. But if you want a higher degree of automation, the next step up from doing tasks is called building a workflow model. And there's a tool in ArcGIS Pro for visually creating a sort of a diagrammatic approach to creating a workflow. You have these blocks with arrows leading between them, which shows that each block is an operation, the application of a geoprocessing tool, for example. And then the arrow coming out is an output of that operation, and then that output can be fed into the next operation. So it's a diagrammatic picture of the workflow, the steps that are carried out. So we'll work on that on Wednesday, but I don't want to get started on it today. All right, let me see. Do you guys have any questions before we call it a day? Are you guys ready for your practicum? Do you feel ready? I think you're ready. All right. I don't see any questions, so let's call it a little early today, 5 minutes early. All right. I will see you guys on Wednesday. And tomorrow, remember, if you want to get into lab to practice, it'll be open from 1 to 3. Sign-up sheet. There's a sign-up sheet. Use the sign-up link on Sakai to make sure you have... Oh, can you show one more time how to create a geodatabase? So Aaron's got a question here. Can you show me one more time how to create a geo... Aaron, are you referring to... let's go back here. Okay, so when you create a project, when you create a new project, it will automatically create a geodatabase, and you can always create a new geodatabase if you right-click on databases, new geodatabase. But maybe what you're asking is not how to create a geodatabase, but how to create a feature class within a geodatabase. Is that what you're asking, Aaron? Like how we created a feature class of Shepherd buildings? Is that what you're asking, Aaron? I know there's a delay here. I think I'm more wondering about importing attribute data into a geodatabase. Ah, okay. Okay, so this is like, here, let me add a folder connection here. Looking for a folder. Let's see. There we go. So I added a folder connection to the practicum data. So maybe if I load this map package, so this is, here, I'll put that up there. This was the map package that I supplied you with. So I think what you're saying is, if you have data, so this map has data on it, it has a layer for US states, but that's not in a geodatabase. And so if you want to get this into a geodatabase, right click on it, go to Data, Export Features, okay, and then this tool pops up where you can export the features in my layer, US states, to whatever output location geodatabase I want. So in this case it's going to the default, which is this conflict geodatabase associated with this project. So the same, so I'll say that one more time. So the idea is, if you have a layer on your map that, in this case, what I just showed you, the layer was on the map because I imported it as a new map, a map package, which contains that layer and the data associated with it. But you want to archive that data into your geodatabase. So the way to do that is to right click on the layer and go down to the data option and export features, and then you can select which geodatabase you want to go to. Alright, another place that you might encounter the need to do this is if you are importing shapefiles. Shapefiles can be handled fine by ArcGIS, but if you want to manage that data, it's wise to then export, once you add the shapefile to your map and it becomes a layer, right click on the layer, go down to Data, Export Features, and export it to a geodatabase. You do it in exactly the same way. Alright, so I think that answers Aaron's question. Okay, great. So I will see you guys Wednesday, and have a good day.